Hey everybody, thank you for watching Weekend Garage. So today I want to show you guys something. Now I did this and I went against basically several of my friends from the first generation Monte Carlo club who urged me not to do this, for various reasons. But what I ended up doing, being the rebel that I am, I went ahead and sprayed my Burlwood insert with clear. So as you can see here, this turned out really nice. I mean, I'm very impressed by the way it came out. I can't be happier. I mean, it came out really good. So, the thing is with this Burlwood insert is it's just kind of flat looking, it's 50 years old. And, usually if I see a Monte Carlo at a car show, the Burlwood insert is kind of old looking. So I want it to look nice and new, just like the car, right? I want it to have a luster to it. So that's why I was thinking of doing this. But there was a couple of things and the reasons why the guys were discouraging me. And everything they said was legit, right? But again, I just took the risk and it turned out pretty nice. So one thing is basically the lettering here on the Burlwood insert. This is 50-year-old lettering. And one of the guys was saying, hey, if you try to prep this and just wipe it with a cleaner, you're probably going to wipe the lettering right off. So what I thought about is I thought about these Eastwood wipes that I have. These are painting prep wipes. I've showed these to you guys before, but I went ahead and wiped it all down with these. And then I went ahead and used a damp cloth after just to make sure it's nice and clean. And, that wiped it down to make sure there's no particles or anything of that sort. And it ended up turning out really good, as you could see. So I'm very impressed by the way it turned out. And I hope you guys can see on camera how good it looks, because in person, it looked really, really good. So I'm very happy about doing this. So there is something that I did want to share, because I did... When I first sprayed it, I did have a bit of a reaction in this area. So I had already put a couple of coats of clear on it, and there was a bit of a reaction over in this area. So what I did, again, keep in mind that I already had laid down the clear on it. I let it dry, and then I went ahead and wet sanded this area, just lightly. And I wet sanded the whole thing. But again, paid attention to this area where I had the reaction. So, and I went ahead and sprayed it again, the whole thing, and then everything is perfectly fine. You couldn't even tell that there was a reaction. So that's why it's very important to make sure you have the surface cleaned well. Don't use any harsh cleaners. You're going to mess it up. Maybe try Dawn or something like that if you don't have those Eastwood wipes, which happen to work for me. Just a thought. But this thing's probably got, I'm guessing, maybe 8 coats of clear on it. So another good thing about that is now the lettering here is encapsulated in clear. So this thing's going to last for a really long time. All right, I'm just doing some final touches on the dash. What I ended up doing is this area where the air conditioning controller goes and the vents is I ended up just painting it a semi-gloss black rather than using the vinyl paint. And it came out pretty nice. So the reason why I did that is because the vinyl paint has like a sparkle to it. And it just wasn't laying down very well. Not on that flat, smooth surface like that. So that's why I decided just to use a regular semi-gloss on there. And I'm sticking, you know, with the Duplicolor. And this is just something that I had laying around that I have actually used on the car. It's actually a Ford black, but that's what they had at the time when I went to look for some semi-gloss black. But other than that, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this newspaper off and everything and see how it turned out. So I think it came out really good. I'm hoping you guys can see, and again, we'll do a close-up here, but I think it came out nice. Okay, now here's a top shot here. Lighting isn't the best, but again, just so you guys can see how it turned out. Everything turned out really good. Let me get this last vent on the corner there, just for you all to see that. And I'll get a little close on that, and you can see it turned out really good, and I'm very happy with the results. All right, so I got really excited about that Burlwood insert. I was getting ready to get the Dakota digital gauges installed onto my dash, and I wanted to put the dash in, and then I realized I needed to get the air conditioning ducts all set in place before I install the dash housing assembly. So, as I had mentioned before in one of my older videos, I did buy one of these. This is the defroster that goes up into the dash pad, I should say, just right below the window there. I did get this and I bought it off somebody and the ends are broken off, right? I was complaining about that in another video. But I actually ended up picking up another one, and this came with some other duct parts as well. One part I already had, but in that kit I got two others. So they were selling like a lot of duct parts. So I didn't know, they didn't have a good picture of this, so I couldn't tell the kind of shape the bolt holes, or I should say the screw holes are, because these things are notorious for the screw holes just being all messed up. Kind of like I showed in an old video on this one. If you can see right here, the screw holes, one of them is all messed up, and these ones were messed up on this side. So this one had basically one good screw hole, and what I ended up doing is I ended up just doing some plastic welding and getting things all mended together and repaired where these screw holes go. So, you know, you can see I have an older video where I show how to do that plastic welding. So basically, this is my new one. I got it all cleaned up. You know, this little tab here was kind of rusted out, so I cleaned it all up. It's looking pretty good. So basically, I'm not going to be able to install the dash until I get all of these ducting pieces in place. And then once all of that is in place, then I can install the dash. But let me just show you the back of this real quick. You can see the wire mesh in the back there. That helps basically stabilize it and really strengthens these areas here where the screw holes are. So I mean, this is going to be stronger than it was new, because again, it has this wire mesh basically embedded inside of the plastic here to keep everything strong. Let me grab those Dakota digital gauges real quick and I'll show them to you. Okay, so I have the Dakota digital gauge set all put together. Let me show it to you guys. And what I ended up doing is I ended up picking up Dakota Digital's gauge housing. That's this black thing right here. This is a gauge set on the back, basically. And this whole black thing is the gauge housing. And I'll compare, basically showing you on the factory gauges what I'm talking about. So if you look on the factory gauges, you see this dingy thing right here. This is the gauge housing. So typically what you'd have to do is remove all the gauges out of the factory housing and then install the Dakota digital gauges into this. So I did not end up going that route because I'm going to probably end up just selling this all complete as it is. But you know, one thing I wanted to show you, because a friend of mine was inquiring about the housing, and he asked me a couple of questions. So, you know, there is another housing. Dakota Digital makes their own. That's this black one here. I can't recall. Resto Parts makes one. I don't remember if it's black as well. It could be. I just chose to stay with the Dakota Digital because I didn't want to run into any issues or anything like that. I ended up talking to a buddy of mine who's been using the Resto Parts housings, and he said they're fine. So, and he's done actually a few Dakota Digital gauge installations. So we're good there. But one thing I want to show you as well, first let me show you the gauges up close. You know, again, I had to put all this together. I got the wiring pigtails all installed. There's another one for the clock that I don't have in there, and there's another one that goes to the little brain for this. I don't have that hooked up. I'll hook that up later, but let me just show you guys up close here what these look like. Pretty sweet, huh? So I'm pretty excited to get these installed. Right now I'm just trying to get the dash situation figured out, and I'll elaborate on that here shortly. But one thing that I want to let you know, when you buy the Dakota Digital gauge housing, again, this black thing here that goes basically sets on top of the gauges just as it's sitting now, you actually get these. So there's this like I don't know, greenish, bluish one. I believe this would go on a 70. And then it also comes with a clear one for my 71. So, I mean, these are nice pieces here. And they do come with a kit. So just letting you know, because if you look at Summit or any other place that sells the Dakota Digital gauges, I haven't really seen where they show everything or show a picture of what comes in the package. They show the wiring and all that stuff. But like for the housing, it doesn't show anything basically. So I wanted to just clarify that so you guys can see basically what you get with it. These two things right here. And one thing that you're going to have to do as well, I already did it on this, is, you know, this is my factory light switch that I already took it out of my original gauge cluster. So my light switch that I have that I ended up installing in the Dakota Digital came from my American Auto Wire set. So that the little rod here that pulls out basically is pretty long on the American Auto Wire, again, because it's interchangeable. So I ended up cutting that to length already. I basically just matched it up with this factory one and put them side by side, and with the excess I went ahead and cut it off. So one thing that I did as well is if you look at the factory one, you can see the little grips that it has, just kind of grind it in to the little rod here. I pretty much mimicked that on mine, and I did the same thing, you know, just so it can help that little knob grip better. So just want to show that to you guys. Something to consider. All right, I want to show you guys something here. Okay, so as we're going into the car here, what you're looking at here, I have an aftermarket dash assembly installed. Now I picked this thing up from Original Parts Group when I bought the car, I don't know, about 6 years ago or so. And I did not end up using this because the Burlwood insert would not fit in properly. I had tried to glue it in and stuff, and it just wasn't lining up. It just wasn't working out, right? So I took this thing out of storage the other day, and because I wanted to take the vents off of it, because I'm gonna reuse the vents. Basically, I was gonna put those in the dash that I got from Koenig's Classics, and you know, I thought, you know what, let me go ahead and get the Burlwood insert and just try one more time to see if it'll fit. And by golly, the thing fit. It fit pretty good. Not like a glove like the factory, but enough for me to work with. So what I'm going to do right now, basically, what I'm going to work on is I'm going to work on getting this thing all mocked up. I want to get everything all mocked up, and I want to go ahead and see if the dash pad will fit. All right, now let's just have another conversation and do another comparison. Okay, so I removed that aftermarket dash, and what we're looking at here is a dash that I restored that I picked up from Koenig's Classics. You know, this thing dropped in like a glove. I mean, it literally was very easy to put in. Where the aftermarket one, I had to stretch the brackets to get the bolt holes to line up. This one just dropped in. Now, don't worry about the middle there where the Burlwood insert goes, where there's overspray, because that Burlwood insert's going to cover all of that. So, you know, other than that, everything fit really nice. So what I'm going to do basically is just get some things mocked up, and I may potentially use the other dash. So we'll see. But let's talk a little bit more about it. All right. So I wanted to let you guys know, I did a little bit of homework on the two different dashes and the dash pads and everything. What I ended up doing is I reached out to Leo at Koenig's Classics, and I was asking him, I basically told him that, hey, you know I picked up that dash housing from you, but I explained that I had an aftermarket one and I installed it. I told him it went in okay, and I said it looked really nice, but I was concerned basically about the dash pad fitting on top of it. So I asked him basically, you know, is there an aftermarket dash pad that'll fit well with that aftermarket dash? And he basically told me that it's a hit and miss, and he couldn't answer that question because the quality control of these aftermarket dash pads is nowhere near what the quality control was from the manufacturer and all of that. So, you know, he said he couldn't answer that question. But I did tell him that, you know, this dash housing went in really nice. I mean, it literally just dropped in there. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an aftermarket dash pad. Leo's going to look for a good factory one if he has one. If not, I'll get one of his aftermarket dash pads that he has. And either way, I'm going to try it on both housings. On this one, and I'm going to try it on the aftermarket housing. And basically, if it fits on the aftermarket housing, I'll probably maybe just end up running with the aftermarket housing. Maybe. But I wanted to point this out. Leo told me, he said, hey, he said that he's done restorations using the aftermarket housings, but he says he has issues with the glove box doors fitting correctly, the ashtray, all of that stuff. So, you know, he told me keep in mind all of that. So I'm not sure if I want to really deal with all of that. And, you know, this one actually came out looking pretty good. So I'm on the fence on it. What I'm probably going to end up doing is I got to get all the ducting and stuff installed back there. I got to get the cables put in for the air conditioning control. And I may even install the gauges and everything in this, and we'll see. If I have to pull it all out and reinstall the aftermarket, then maybe I'll do that. So I just kind of want to let you guys know. So if you're doing a build and maybe you're going back and forth, you can see what I come up with.